while since I've done something sweet, so I was thinking along the lines of something like a steamed apple pudding. First of all, you want to start off with some apples. Now, always buy apples that are in season, so you want to have a good peeler as well because that's the main thing. And just get rid of all the skin. So what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to peel them, core them, and then dice them up. And this is going to go at the base of our pudding bowl, so when you actually turn your pudding over, it's going to be in the top. So if your kids don't eat fruit, or your partner doesn't eat fruit, it's a good way to sneak some fruit into their diet. What we're going to do with the apples is we're going to cut them, core them, and then squeeze lemon juice over. Before I core my apples, I'm going to show you a little tip with the lemons. If you need lemon juice in a recipe, and it also requires lemon zest, make sure you zest it before you juice it, because it's awfully hard to juice a lemon once it's been cut. But I'm going to be using the juice of the lemon to cover the apples to stop them from going brown. So, with microplane, just get rid of all the zest of one lemon. Make sure you don't get any of the white pith as well, because that's the bitter stuff of the lemon. So you normally just go 2 strokes on each section. And so just go 2, 2, 2. So 2 little strokes and move. And also be careful of your fingers. These microplanes are very sharp. So I go all the way around. Now I'm going to cut that, and that's ready to be squeezed over the apples once they've been cored and diced. So you just want to cut out the cores. So turn them over so they're on the flat part, and then just cut straight down and you take it all out. Make sure you get rid of all the core because it can be quite woody. It's not nice when you hit it when you're eating it. Sweet. Get it out. Make sure you got a sharp knife as well. I'm going to be dicing the apples now. When you're dicing the apples, it's all preference. You can dice them small, you can dice them big, it doesn't matter. But obviously the smaller you dice it, then the more cooked it's going to be, so you'll have more of a stewed type apple. Larger, then it won't be cooked as much. So place your apple into the bowl. Now only put half in because we've still got the lemon juice to go over. Now the lemon juice is going to stop your apple from browning. Always squeeze some lemon juice over and it stops it from going that awful brown colour. So squeeze it over. Remember, cup your hand and catch all the seeds. So that's that part, and put in the rest of the apples. Place it in, and same again. With the other half of the lemon, squeeze it over. And the best thing about that is that you know that you've zested it, you've squeezed it, so you've pretty much used everything that you possibly can out of that lemon. So it's good use. Give it a shake, and that's ready to wait. Now we're going to go into the pan. We're going to turn it up to high heat, and then we're going to place 25 grams of butter into the pan. Let that melt, and then we're going to add an awesome ingredient which is going to make it taste more apple flavours. It will give it a real nice, sweet, delicious apple flavour. And to the top of your pudding, we're also going to put some apple syrup into the mixture itself. Butter can go in. We're going to scoop that in. So let the butter melt. So we want 6 tablespoons of Freshfields apple syrup. Now this apple syrup is great on pancakes, salad dressings with a bit of balsamic, so it's got a lot of uses. Also great in cakes, over top of ice cream. Now once that's bubbling and infusing for a couple of minutes or a minute or so, we're going to add in the chopped apples. Let that sort of stew a bit and cook for about 5 minutes. Turn it off heat and then we're done. Excellent, our syrup and butter is ready now for the apples. Now remember, when you're pouring into hot syrup or oil or anything, always pour away from you. And just let that pour in. And wooden spoon, just coat all the apple in the apple syrup and into the butter. So while your apple's cooking, we're going to move on to the base of the pudding. Now in the base of the pudding, I love to use muscovado sugar. So a little bit of muscovado sugar, which you can find in all supermarkets. We're just going to need 100 grams of that. So I'm going to weigh it out on these scales. Excellent. 100 grams, perfect. It's going to go into the bowl. Now for the final ingredient for this part, it's the Freshfields apple sauce. I like these packets because you don't have any wastage. So what I've done with this recipe is I've replaced the butter in the base of the pudding with apple sauce. So it's a healthier option. No preservatives, no additives. So squeeze all that out. So I'm going to give this a good mix now using my hand mixer because I find I have more control over it. So once that's nice and blended through, you'll see it will start to thicken up. That means it's ready to go. I want 2 lightly beaten eggs to add into this mixture. So you just want to crack them in. And then we're going to add some flour. So lightly beaten with a fork, add that in with flour. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And let's give that a good mix. Now it's always handy to have a spatula on hand and just push down all the flour that comes up the sides so that it all blends in. Just give it a final mix with the spatula just to double check that you got all the flour. It's ready now to be assembled. So I'm going to come over here and turn on our pot. In our pot we have about that much water in it. Don't go any more or any less, because if you go higher than halfway, it's going to bubble over and go into your pudding, and you're going to be left with a soggy base. But keep an eye on it, because if it burns out and evaporates, you're going to be burning your pot and you'll have a burnt top of your pudding. So now we're going to grease the pudding bowl. So I've got a bit of butter here. Give that a good grease. We don't want it to stick. There you go. First of all, the apple goes into the pudding basin, because that's going to be the topping. And flatten that out. Now that's going to be the top of your pudding. And now the pudding base itself. Pour that in. It should top all of the apple. And now the lid on the pudding basin. And press the lid on. There you go. And into the pot. I'm going to let this steam for 1.5 hours to 2 hours, but remember, keep an eye on it, because if the water dries out and evaporates, you'll burn the top of your pudding. Baby, I love it. Our steamed pudding is cooked, so I'll serve up a slice. Oh, look at it. I'm going to finish off with a little bit of thick fresh custard. So like I said before, you can serve it cold like a cake or have it nice and warm with a bit of custard.